my piece of advice would be put yourself forward. Yes, you're going to have to gamble at times. You're going to have to risk things. You're going to have to feel uncomfortable, but you do not get those chances that you don't put yourself forward for. My name is Michael Valentine. I am the Equality, Diversity and Inclusion Manager for EKFB. We're obviously looking at the title at the minute to update it to include equity or belonging. I have no team currently, but I'm part of the HR team. Essentially, I guess all of EKFB and our subcontractors and supply chain are my team. Everyone has to be involved with diversity and inclusion, so we are all going along in the same direction at the same time. In EKFB directly, we have around 2,000 employees. That number is going up quite rapidly as we mobilise and start delivering on the project that we're working on. We do, however, have a massive supply chain of thousands more. We cover an 80-kilometre stretch of the railway that we're building currently between Southam in the north and just above the North Chilterns in the south. And our sites we have some larger compound sites, office locations, lots and lots of little mobile sites as well as we progress across the trace. I was born in Cambridge. My father was military, so we spent a couple of years in Cambridge, and at a very young age I moved to Germany. I was raised in army barracks. I could at a young age fluently speak German, but unfortunately that has escaped, that's lost me now. We moved back to England when I was around 10, 11, which I've always felt put me at a disadvantage. I moved in during the middle of the school year. Friendship groups had already been created. It took me a long time to, I think, acclimatise and reintegrate with British culture. And I know that sounds strange because we were on British army barracks, but it's different. It's a different life. So despite moving back to England, we moved around quite a lot as well. So it took me a long time to establish friendship groups and to have a sense of starting to develop groups. I left school at 16, having achieved GCSEs, and I left home at 16 actually as well, and moved quite a long way away from the family unit. And then I began working, and it was just any kind of positions, jobs that I could get. It was not at that point a career. It was money to pay for rent. It wasn't until early 20s when I started to reassess my life, my direction, when I decided to go back to university as a mature student. And I achieved a law LLB and got top grades. That was tough. I didn't have any support, any people telling me how to go about doing this or really encouraging me to do it. In fact, quite the opposite. The people around me were telling me I wouldn't be able to achieve this, which I think inspired me to get through it. So when we moved back to the UK, my father had left the military. We were by no means a poor family, but on the lower end of the socio-economic sort of level. The schools that we went to were not in fantastic areas, so the education we received was probably not top end either. Despite that, I did start to develop a career in the NHS. I joined working on something called referral to treatments, which was ensuring people were treated within a set time. During my time with the NHS, which I thought was going to be a lifelong career, I worked in a lot of contract roles, which I'm very glad that I did because it gave me loads of experience in different areas, tons of different areas, different fields of speciality as well. It was only 4 years ago that I decided to leave the NHS, and I was scared because I'd been in there for so long. I'd become accustomed to it, and I felt that it was very progressive as compared to maybe potentially the private sector. But I did take the leap. I wanted to explore the subject matter that appealed most to me, which was diversity and inclusion, which I'd had a chance to get involved with in the NHS, but not to the degree that I really wanted to. So I took the leap and joined the civil engineering world, a small family-owned company, but as the Equality, Diversity and Inclusion Manager. I could not express just how thankful I was that I took that leap. And it was a gamble. It felt like a gamble, real scary gamble. But I'm constantly surprised at just how progressive, forward-thinking people are from all different walks of life. And that is, I'm constantly learning. Having worked in that company for a couple of years, I was headhunted into my current role, which is, again, diversity and inclusion manager, working for a much larger company on a very high-profile project, building a railway network. I've just had so many opportunities here to explore diversity and inclusion with tons of autonomy, and really sort of have the opportunity to support our workforce and the communities that we work in to a degree I've not had to before. I've not been able to before. This was not planned. I didn't know from a young age, or even from a few years ago, that I was going to get here. And I still don't know where I'm going to go, but I'm loving what I'm doing, and I'm loving seeing that it can make a difference for people. My number one top piece of advice that I would give is really around confidence and putting yourself forward to, sometimes in situations where the pathway is not straightforward, it's not very clear. And that comes from the statistics, studies around applications for jobs. For example, men tend to feel comfortable to apply for roles where they don't satisfy all of the qualification criteria. In certain studies, it shows that they only need to satisfy 60% of the criteria, whereas women quite often feel that they need to satisfy 100% of it. We can draw conclusions from that, and there's some fantastic studies from Hewlett-Packard which goes into more detail around this and explains it's not just around a confidence issue. But my piece of advice would be, put yourself forward. Yes, you're going to have to gamble at times. You're going to have to risk things. You're going to have to feel uncomfortable, but you do not get those chances that you don't put yourself forward for. I would compare that, I guess, to many aspects of my career and life, but the degree in law that I achieved, I had, like, as I said, no one telling me how to go about doing this, no one encouraging me in my life. And it was a gamble. It cost money, it cost time, but I felt that area was something that appealed to me, and I thought I could do it. I put myself forward for it. It was hard work, and I'm thankful that I did. It's enabled me to get to the place I am in work, and it has provided me with the knowledge and tools to deliver in the way that I want to.